Guys, so this morning I'm making some homemade chicken soup for some friends of ours at our fellowship that just had a baby, and I wanted to show you what I do that's a little bit different than maybe most people do. I don't know, but this is what I do. Instead of putting a pot of water and then putting like the celery and the onions and the chicken in the water, what I do is I create like a roux. I like fry the chicken with the onions and the celery. Okay, so just a fun fact for you guys. Potatoes are known to have all their vitamins and nutrients in the skin of the potato. That's why it's really important to eat the skin of the potato and wash it really, really well. But carrots do not. They have some nutritional value, but you can peel a carrot and still get the nutrients from it, because the nutrients come from the root, because it is a root vegetable. So that's why you can peel carrots. I'm going to cut these carrots up, put them in the soup, and then I'll be cutting the potatoes, putting them in the soup, and then I will show you guys a video of that. This cute little thing. Good morning. Are you dancing? I love you. You want to sing a song? You want to sing a song with me? Holy, holy, holy. You sing it with me? You're so funny. Judah, look at you. You're doing a great job, buddy.
I did the whole thing already.
You did the whole thing already?
This part.
Now that part. Good job. And I'll put it in the soup when you're done, okay, buddy? You're such a good helper. Miss Ani's going to be so proud of you to know that you helped Mommy make the soup. Okay, so I'm a firm believer, just a little side note for me, I'm a firm believer that food not only taste good, but the ingredients have to like go together well. You know what I mean? Like, I worked in my mom's restaurant for 22 years in Southern California, and an Italian restaurant, and my mom made everything from scratch: bread, the sausage, the pasta, everything was made to order. You could sit in the dining room at her restaurant and like look inside the kitchen and see her cooking, and it was really, really something special. We had a lot of people who just saw me grow up in the restaurant business, and my mom actually just recently sold her restaurant in 2020, but in October. So it's been interesting, it's been good, but also, you know, that was such a part of her life and really a part of my life. I learned everything from that restaurant. I learned how people skills. I learned, you know, how to cook. I learned how to multitask. You know, so I'm really thankful for the years that I had at the restaurant. It taught me so much. But I'm a firm believer, like, that food has to not only taste good, but it tastes good because of the way you strategically place ingredients together. It's the texture, it's the taste, it's the, you know, the sweet and the saltiness, perfect blend. You know, it has to be perfectly balanced. And so when you're cooking, like in your mind, if you think like, oh man, I think that would taste really good together, you know, chances are it'll taste good if you cook it that way. So, you know, there's certain things that don't go together, you know, the textures don't go together. I think that chocolate covered strawberries are beautiful. I really do. I just don't think that hard chocolate and juicy strawberry goes good together. I don't know why I think that. It doesn't, the textures don't blend to me. So I am not a fan of chocolate covered strawberries, but you know, that might be something that you like, you know. So I encourage you guys to just play around in the kitchen. And so why I wanted to say that is because I was cutting the potatoes to put in the soup, and I don't peel my potatoes before I put them in soup. I wash them really, really, really good, get all the dirt off of them. Our potatoes haven't harvested yet, so unfortunately I have store-bought potatoes, and the nutritional value in store-bought food is just ridiculously low compared to growing your own crops. But, you know, sometimes we have to use what we have, you know. So that's why I scrub them really, really good, because they are store-bought potatoes. And then I'll just cut them up into quarters, and I'll just throw them in the soup. So if you look here, what I do is I like cook down the vegetables just a tiny bit in the chicken, like droppings, and the chicken its own fat. With all the seasoning and stuff, and then I cook it down, and then I'll add the water into the pan right over the top of the chicken, and then I'll let it cook and boil, like semi-boil for like 10 minutes, and then I'll be putting in the soft vegetables like zucchini. I'll then pull the chicken out. So once it cooks for like 15 minutes, I'll then pull this chicken out, let it cool so that I can debone it and put it back in the soup, and then I'll let the vegetables boil and cook. And then I'll add my soft vegetables like zucchini. If I put peas in there, you really want those colors to be vibrant in the sauce. You don't want them to be like lose their color and be overcooked. So I'll put those in like probably 10 minutes before I'm serving it, when I cook it with the cream, and let it boil and soften just a little bit. So that way they still have texture to them. So I'm gonna add water to this right now. Okay, so my bread recipe for 3 loaves, a large batch, is 4 cups of warm water, 2 tablespoons of yeast, and I actually put the yeast in the water and kind of like, you know, wisp it, and then it's 4 teaspoons of salt. So when you put the flour in, you're gonna put the salt in, and the flour is kind of by texture, like you want it to be pliable but yet still sticky. So I counted, this is actually a friend's recipe that she blessed me with. So I counted, and it's about 8 cups of flour, maybe 10. But it is based on texture. So it has to, like I said, it has to be tacky, but still pliable. Just notice how the dough feels in your hand. So I'm putting my yeast in the water. And then I will whisk it. Usually my mixer is not over here in the corner, so I apologize about the lighting. It's usually on the other side of the kitchen, but our power went out over there where the outlets are. So I'm gonna put that inside my KitchenAid. I have a 5-quart KitchenAid, and 5-quart KitchenAid. So I'm gonna start putting in the flour, and I'm just gonna turn it on low and let it mix. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna put the salt first. So this is 2. I'm gonna break up my flour really fast because this is a new bag that I put in here, and it's kind of clumpy. It's almost better to sift it, but I don't have time to sift it right now because I'm trying to bring this before noon, and it needs to rise a little bit. But the good thing about this bread, this is why I asked my friend And I don't want to divulge any names because this is public and I don't know how people feel about that. So I just want to be mindful of people's privacy. But a really dear friend of mine, she's my best friend actually, she gave me this recipe, and the reason why I loved it is because it literally is like a 30-minute rise. You can make it, and after you make it, you preheat your oven, and the time that it takes to preheat your oven is the time that it takes to rise. And then you just throw it in, you bake it, and it's ready to go. So that's why I really like it, because it's fast. You don't have to rise all day long. And I live at about 2,000 elevation, so 2,500 maybe elevation. I don't know, I think it's 2,000. And so the bread, that also you have to take into consideration, because the bread will rise differently here than it would maybe where you're at, you know, at sea level or whatever. So, okay, so that was 1 cup of flour, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to add the salt, and then I'm going to put it on low, so that way it'll kind of start blending it, and then I'll start adding 1 cup at a time until I see the texture of it and it looks like it's tacky, yet I can still mold it, you know what I mean? So that's what I'll be doing. Let me grab my salt really fast. My kids sound like they're having a wrestling party in the other room, so I apologize. Actually, I don't really apologize. It kind of, it drives me crazy sometimes, I have to be honest, but it's okay this morning. So it's 2 teaspoons of salt. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, I lied. It's 4 teaspoons of salt. 4 teaspoons of salt, and no sugar. No sugar. My other bread recipe calls for equal parts of sugar and salt. This recipe only calls for salt. So, okay, so I'm going to put it on, so, you know, there's different recipes, and, you know, you can put some doughs in the refrigerator and make like a ciabatta bread. It just depends on how you retard the dough, but this is just a basic like French bread recipe. Okay, so I'm going to put it on low. Sorry guys, I'm going to adjust. Put it on low. And then I'll start adding another cup of flour 1 at a time until I see if I want it, the texture I want it to be. So this is 5. 6. 7. 7, and it kind of looks pretty good. I'm going to let this mix really good, and I think it looks like it's just where I want it to be. I'll show you what I'm talking about when I say tacky and still pliable. So this is a little too tacky. You don't want it that tacky. I mean, you can still probably make it into a roll, but I'm going to add another maybe half a cup of flour. And see where we're at. Basically, you want it to come off the sides of the bowl. I think that's just about where I want it. So I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna flour my hand so that it doesn't stick to it because it is still tacky. And so you just put flour on your hand and it makes it really easy to take the hook off. Sorry,
You're all good.
take you guys over here with me and get my pan ready. So that way I'll show you how I make, I'll show you how I make the rolls. Hey guys, okay, so I have my pan ready and I am going to put some flour down on my surface. I need actually, I'm a kind of a sloppy cook. Sorry guys. Just kind of, they say a messy chef's a good chef. That's what they say. I don't know. I'm messy, but then I like my mess cleaned up afterwards. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this into sections, but I'm going to actually roll it onto this. You're hungry? Okay, baby girl. So this makes 3 loaves. So I'm going to go cut it into 3 sections. Three sections. I'm gonna actually take some off of this one and add it to this one because this looks like it's got a lot. Okay, and then oh man, I wish you guys could see this. So I can like this. Okay, so I fold it, and what I do is I go, I'm doing this with one hand, guys, so bear with me. And then I make a log, and put it on the sheet. So let me do this again. Put more flour down my surface. And I hope you guys can see this. I am doing this with one hand, multitasking, right? I'm gonna actually put you guys down for just a second because I need to roll this out. Sorry guys, sorry. I need to roll it out and make it a little bit longer. I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna put more down. More flour. And if you have one of these, you can actually scrape it up, but that's an afterthought, I love them already making it. Okay, this one's smaller, so I'm gonna put this in the middle and let these rise. And then right before you're gonna put it in the oven, I'm gonna turn my oven on to 425. 425. I'm gonna let it preheat, and then I'm gonna put it in the oven. And then right before you put it in the oven, my friend, I noticed she just slits the top, so you can do that. You can do it now. It really doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. And then I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven. So I'm gonna preheat the oven. I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna bake them for about 20 minutes on 425, and if you're doing 3 loaves, it's 25 minutes until they're like golden brown. And then I'll pull them out. Good morning, Elijah.
Morning, Elijah.
No, it's silly boy. Say good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
So you take your stem. Elijah already started to take the stuff off of it, and you actually go against the grain, against the petals, and it just comes straight off. It's really, really easy.
Hey, Mom,
and then you mince it up into, you can have it. You mince it up into really, really, it up really, really fine, and you put it, I put 2 sticks of butter, so 2 sticks of butter in my KitchenAid with the paddle, not the hook and not the whisper, but the paddle. And then you beat the butter with the rosemary, and basically that's it. If you have salted butter, it'll already be salted. If you don't have salted butter, you need to probably add a little bit of salt, unless you like it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and debone the chicken, put it in the soup, then finish putting these tender greens in before I put the cream. And then I'll add the cream. I'll do the grate the ginger and chop the cilantro, and then the chicken soup will be ready to serve. So this recipe that I make, my chicken soup, is a cream of chicken soup, and you don't have to do cream. If you're lactose intolerant, you do not have to do cream, but it calls for fresh ginger and fresh cilantro on top right before you're going to eat it. And so I'm doing this so that I can bring it to my friends so that they have it to put on top of their soup. Just like I would do for them if they were here. No, honey. And so I'm going to put this in a container. You can do also, if you don't put cream in the chicken soup, you can do it without cream. And I like to do cilantro and sriracha when I eat that, just because it's spicy and it's really good for colds. It's really good, just antioxidant and good for your tummy because it's not me, buddy. So it's a good antioxidant, and it's really good for your tummy because of the ginger. So I like to eat that when I'm not really feeling 100%. And it always seems to make me feel better. I'm not really big on taking cold medicine, cold syrups and stuff like that. I just really feel like you can eat healthy and it'll make you feel better. So I try to go the more natural route when I can. Like I said in previous videos, we try to be holistic. We don't always do it perfectly, but we try, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put these in ramekins. I'm going to chop the cilantro, and I will be heading out to deliver this to our sweet friends.